72% of the people surveyed said it was a great time to sell. 46% of the people surveyed believe that home prices are going to continue to increase. And then will mortgage rates increase? 67% of people surveyed do believe they're going to increase. This was interesting. Coming out of the pandemic, with all of the uncertainty around employment, 87% of the people surveyed felt really good about their current job and that it was likely to continue, and they may see even a raise in the future. So that was a positive piece of this report. And then 27% of the people surveyed saw their household income increase. So a lot of good in that report, a lot of good reasons why, now may be a great time to consider buying. And you hear me talk about it all the time. If you want to get in real estate, sure, it would have been better to do it 2 years ago, but the next best time is today. So when it comes to the interest rate side of it, though, read the fine print. And I welcome the opportunity to walk you through what rate you would qualify for and what programs would be available. If you're ever interested in that conversation, just give us a call during the week. Like I said, that hotline number 561-291-8569 pushes to the office. But if you're not quite ready for a conversation and you're just in that info gathering stage, I encourage you to visit the website www.mr.mortgage. That's mr.mortgage. There's a lot of good information there that might help get you one step closer to making a decision. But yeah, those teaser rates are out there. Facebook is an amazing place to see some interesting offers, especially in the world of real estate and mortgages. And while we're on this, one thing I do want to throw out a word of caution to everybody is the scammers are out there. The scams are back. There's one that goes around from time to time where you'll see a property advertised on Craigslist and more recently on Marketplace and Facebook. And it's a rental, and it seems to be a ridiculously low rental price. So a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a pool for $1,400 in West Palm. Well, we all know that's the Loch Ness, not the Loch Ness monster, right? It's just not there. But again, we all want to believe what we want to believe, and it's super enticing. So you call that phone number in the ad and they tell you, listen, I don't have time to show you the property. It's vacant. Just go out there and walk around it, look through the windows, and then call me back. And you do that. You go out. It's a fantastic neighborhood. The kids are excited. They love the idea of having a pool in the backyard. And you call that number back and they say, listen, I'm out of town. I've got a ton of phone calls on this property. If you want me to hold it for you, just send me the first, last, and security. Send me money via Cash App. Wire me the money. And this is starting to become pretty prevalent again. You don't want to fall for that. If it's too good to be true, it most likely is indeed too good to be true. So get a real estate agent on your team who can do that research for you and make sure that you're actually talking to the property owner. And also, too, know that on the buy and lease side, if the real estate agent is representing you, often there's no fee to you. It's paid by the seller or by the landlord. So it's not a cost to have expert representation. So I hear the music behind me. We're going to jump into a break, but on the other side of this, we'll have more questions. You can reach me at 561-291-8569. That's 561-291-8569, or visit the website www.mr.mortgage.
Hey, it's Mark Eitel here, host of the Mr. Mortgage Show. And you've heard me talk about the valuation tool that we use in our lending practice almost daily. It's not quite an appraisal, but it's way more accurate than one of those online estimates. And we're happy to run one of those reports for you at no charge. Just visit freevaluereport.org. That's freevaluereport.org. Give us a little information about the property, and we'll be happy to send you your report. That's freevaluereport.org.
Here's another 5-star review.
As a realtor, I have a bunch of mortgage brokers to choose from, but I prefer to work with Mark and his Mr. Mortgage team. In this crazy market, there is no room for error, especially on the mortgage side. Mark's team moves fast, keeps everybody in the loop, and makes things happen. They always give my clients a great deal and take the time to walk them through every step of the process. When you're considering a lender, I encourage you to talk to Mark Eitel and the Mr. Mortgage team.
It's not every day that you need an appraisal, whether it's for a divorce settlement, estate planning, or maybe you're appealing a tax assessment, or you just want to make sure you have adequate coverage in your property insurance. When you need a certified appraisal, turn to my friends at soflappraisal.com. That's soflappraisal.com. Peter and his team have been appraising properties here in South Florida for decades. soflappraisal.com. And tell them you heard this on the Mr. Mortgage Show.
Are inflation and everyday expenses eating into your retirement income? Maybe you've considered a reverse mortgage and have unanswered questions like, do I still own my property? Can the bank kick me out? What happens when I die? Can I still leave my house to my kids? These are all great questions. Visit www.moreaboutreverse.com to learn more. That's www.moreaboutreverse.com. www.moreaboutreverse.com.
Welcome back to the Mr. Mortgage Show. Call us now, 561-291-8569.
All right, we are back. I am Mark It-HELOC, host of the Mr. Mortgage Show. And please give us a call or shoot us your questions to 561-291-8569. Dom's back there manning the board and ready for your questions. But just to finish the topic about getting scammed in this market, that Craigslist / marketplace scam is kind of rearing its ugly head again as rents have increased so much. And it's just super enticing to see that amazing deal out there. And we feel like because we stumbled upon it on Marketplace, it's just an opportunity that no one knows about. And that's why it's such a great deal. But one more super important reason why having the right agent on your team makes a difference. And I know I kind of raced into that break with this, and that's why I wanted to just circle back and clarify. Most often, the on the buyer side of the transaction or on the tenant's side of the transaction, the fee to the real estate agent is paid by either the seller or the landlord. So it really costs you as the buyer or the renter no money to have great professional representation. So I encourage you to do that. If you don't have a great agent, give us a call. I'm happy to get you in touch with somebody that I feel is a rock star. I mean, I'm blessed to work with a lot of really good agents, and I'll be happy to give you a name and a number and encourage you to give them a shout that they'll look out for you. So I didn't want to belabor that, but I just wanted to circle back to it because a lot of times people don't realize how the fee structure in real estate works, and oftentimes there's no fee on your side as a buyer for your real estate agent. But again, all of that is a conversation for you and your agent. I just encourage you to have somebody. And if something seems too good to be true, call someone else for a second opinion. Call me, call my office, and we'll get you in touch with an agent if we can't answer your question on our own. So anyway, that's all I have on that. Just be cautious out there because people do take advantage of situations, and this is where we're seeing it in our industry at the moment. So let's continue jumping into questions. Dom, do we have anything queued up over there?
Yes, we do. We have Jerry from Lantana. Jerry asks, my landlord is getting ready to sell my house. He won't give me a price. He keeps telling me to make an offer. How do I come up with a price? I don't want to overpay. I've already paid him for 6 years.
Wow. So this is interesting because you are the third person this week that I've had this question from. So I think we might be seeing this happen more and more often where landlords are capitalizing on that equity, and maybe they're going to push it into a 1031 exchange and go buy more property with it. Actually, now that I mention that, I'm going to share an idea with you. But first, let me answer Jerry's question because it is a great question, right? You feel most likely that you should be given a great deal because you've been there for 6 years. I imagine that you've made some repairs and improvements along the way that you never even asked for reimbursement from. You might have changed a ceiling fan or upgraded something just because you wanted to make your apartment or your condo or your home a nicer place to live. So there is a little bit of you're attached to it personally, and you feel like, hey, I've paid you X amount a month for 6 years. I'd like a great deal. Sadly, that's not the reality, right? You would have been renting somewhere anyway. So I would encourage you not to get too attached to the fact that you've, invested in this property in the form of rent over a period of time, because it's easy to get wrapped around the axle there when you're negotiating. And just know that, I guess where I'm going with this is approach it as if you were buying a property that you weren't currently renting, because you need to establish a fair market value to start the negotiation. So this is an easy question to answer. I'm going to encourage you to visit the free value report website. You hear me advertise it every break. It's a tool that we use almost daily in our practice. And what I mean by use in our practice is, if you were to call me and say, "Hey, my home's worth $800,000, I owe $400,000. How much money can I get out of it?" Or, "I'm thinking of selling it and buying a new house. How much do you think I'm going to get out of it for my down payment?" I go to our online, our tool, and run the calculations, and it spits out, as you hear me advertise, an 8 to 10 page report. It's got comps, it's got active listings. It's a very, very robust report. But more importantly, it gives you a range. And within that range, you can determine where you think it's going to fall. So I would encourage you, I'm happy to run that report for you. The easiest way to do it is visit that website, freevaluereport.org, or you can call my office, 561-291-8569. Or just hit the website and shoot the address to me. I need your address, or the property address rather, and your email address to shoot you back the report. And then I would encourage you to use that as a jumping off point with the landlord. Now you've got the data to support a price, and maybe he's way off base and he wants, or she, a ridiculously high value. I don't know. But now you've got real data in your hand that can kind of guide your conversation. And then lastly, if he's going to sell it to you without the involvement of a real estate agent, and he's not paying the real estate commission, there may be an opportunity for you to negotiate with your landlord assistance with the closing costs. Certainly, it's worth asking, if they're not going to be going through the inconvenience of reviewing offers and having to evict you if you don't go willingly, and all of the difficulties, of inconveniences, I guess is a better word, of selling a property. They don't have to go through that if they sell it to you. So you may be able to negotiate an opportunity to have them pay some of your closing costs. And we talked about that last week, right? The 3 buckets of cash to close, one of them being closing costs. If that seller will help, or the landlord rather, as the seller, will help reduce that burden to you, that's less cash to close. So I encourage you to have that conversation. It seems like a theme of late. You're the third person this week who I've talked to who has the opportunity to buy the place that they're currently renting, which is awesome, right? Because you don't have to move. It's super convenient. If you like living there and you can negotiate a good price, and man, how great would it be if your mortgage payment is even less than your rent payment? Now it's a home run. If you were super diligent, you would take that monthly savings and apply it to your principal and pay it off even faster. And then it's a viable rental because you've been there for 6 years. So if you ever move, you could keep it and rent it to the next guy. So great opportunity. I encourage you to run. Let us run that report for you, and hopefully that helps you get the conversation started. But on that topic, what kind of dawned on me at the beginning of this conversation was the 1031 tax exchange. So maybe these landlords are seeing the opportunity to capitalize on all this equity and go out there and buy more properties by deferring the taxes via a 1031 exchange. So if you are a landlord and you own a condo, and not Jerry's landlord, we don't want his landlord to beat him up, but if you're a landlord out there and you've got a ton of equity in a property, it might make sense to sell that property. And here, let's use an example. There's a ton of examples like this in our area where, you might have purchased a condo 5 or 6 years ago for $150,000, and it may be worth $400,000 now. That's not unrealistic, the amount of appreciation. Well, that means you have $250,000 in equity. And you hear me talk about the DSCR investor loan. Well, with that $250,000 in equity, you can go out there and buy $1 million worth of property just based on the rental income of the new property. You don't have to be fully underwritten from a income standpoint of your own. And if you're rolling those cash assets into a 1031 exchange and then rolling that into a new purchase, you went from collecting rent on one condo from Jerry, to 4 units. If you bought $1 million fourplex, or you